very good.
I'm in Big
North.
Bear, buddy.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest places to be sheltering in place. I'm on 3 acres.
Oh, no way.
My laptop's all plugged in, or I'd show you. But how have you been doing? Dear God.
Yeah, it's been very crazy out here. Well, the Texans got a different way of thinking. There's different ones. They're either protesting about their freedoms being virused, or it's very interesting. Like I go out and there's people walking on the freeways. There's people walking and bicycling, and
Yeah.
but then there's a lot of construction workers doing the construction jobs, and driving is really awesome in the Metroplex. So
Right. I like your little VR guy back there.
yeah.
I still need to pitch you my VR series.
Oh yeah, you definitely. What's interesting is we had an oil rig safety video, and we had to buy like 10 of those guys, and that's the only one that survived because we were watching explosions and slow mowing it and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? And it was creeping out the kids in the room. So I was like, I'll put a VR on them and just set them in the background.
Gonna get my coffee mug.
So how did this Big Bear thing come across? You're in the weeds right now. And how many shows have they had? Or tell me the whole gamut.
Big Bear Films. Well, Big Bear's had a film festival off and on for 20 years up here. And several years ago, the producers and film programmers, industry people that were involved in it, just left them out, and everybody just, they're filmmakers and producers and stuff, and they just kind of abandoned it after the longest run. I think, maybe I could be wrong, but 12 or 14 years going up here in Big Bear, a Big Bear Film Festival. And one of my production partners and I became roommates and moved up here to Big Bear to kind of, it's just a beautiful community. And, being from small town Texas, it seemed like it could be a better way of life, for my boy, and and to be able to find a small community like where I'm from, back in Glen Rose, Cleburne area, where you can come in with a big idea and get people interested. And so my production partner Mike and I came up with a few ideas up here in town that we could do to create a new film initiative, and one of them was the Big Bear Film Summit. So we started petitioning the city and became friends with the tourism entity up here called Visit Big Bear, and they let us know all the opportunities how we could tap into grants and resources from the city. And this was last fall, and we did. And so we developed the Big Bear Film Summit, which is 3 days, June 12th, 13th, and 14th. Now, this is when it was a live event. It's shifted a little bit now, but the original concept was 50 films, 20 bands, 3 days up here in Big Bear. So yeah, we had all of our venues, and we had some really awesome traction, and the enthusiasm from the community and support has been phenomenal. Until the lockdown, and all of our sponsors pushed pause or bailed. And but we received a nice marketing grant from the city, and so it was either push until 2021 or innovate. And we've decided that there's so many filmmakers. I mean, it officially ended this morning, our call for submissions, but we have films from all over the world, and as few as I've screened so far, which is the next week's worth of effort, we've received some incredible movies. I mean, some really incredible films. And so that's it. So what we're doing in a nutshell, this is the new plan, is we will announce on May 1st, all 50 films that are accepted and in competition for the Big Bear Film Summit. And then starting June 12th, we will be not programming, they will be available to stream. And so we'll have 50 films. We're using a really, really nice platform called Eventive, which previously was just a really nice social media integrated ticket sales company. So that was our ticket service company to go along with Film Freeway. And Eventive was smart enough to start adapting and developing an online streaming platform before this pandemic. So they were on it when things got locked down and film festivals started shutting down. Eventive had a solution already, and so we kind of lucked out. So here's the interesting thing. Then you can just ask me whatever you want, but we've spent so much time. I mean, we've been working on this film festival since December for no money. We haven't been paid a dime. And the idea was to create awareness for the Big Bear Valley region, which is part of the mountain where we live in Southern California. And what really got us is when we moved up here, we started seeing little film locations all over town. Like, oh my God, they filmed the original Parent Trap right out here at the, and so, and then we started researching, and some of the most influential movies of all time have been filmed here in Big Bear. There's been over 450 films just listed on Wikipedia filmed in Big Bear over the last 100 years, going back to some really controversial classics like Birth of a Nation was filmed up here. Scenes from Gone with the Wind were filmed up here. Disney just about owned this mountain for a couple decades. And so the Parent Trap, Dr. Dolittle, like countless Disney classics were filmed up here. And nobody is really aware of it. There's new generations have come in, and it's just a cool little tourist snowboard community. You know what I mean? And so that's what Mike Hanson, my partner, and I decided to do was to get not major, but just bring film production back to Big Bear. And so if everything works out, we will shift into becoming the Big Bear Valley Region's Film Commission. We're working with locals, politicians to organize an incentive so that we can get a Disney production back up here with a 450-man crew, which that's what this town needs. That's what this town needs when we reopen. This town needs it needs a Marvel movie to come up here, and we need heads and beds. In this tourist town, we need heads and beds. And if we had a production that could come up here and utilize 6 or 8 weeks with 400 or 500 people, that's the way it used to be. 50s, 60s, 70s in Big Bear. There was a lot of filming activity, and so the Big Bear Film Summit is hopefully going to escort in kind of a new resurgence and interest to film in the Big Bear Valley region.
That's incredible, because it's like tax incentives and things like that. Is that usually what gets these festivals out of there? What was it? Just everybody left, or there was a different resource? What do you think happened?
Yeah, I think that Los Angeles had created their own incentive programs, and there's a lot of cities that do as well. Disney. I don't know if they own a lot, but they do a lot of work, and a lot of TV shows do. The mountains used to be the backdrop for Hollywood. The San Bernardino Mountains used to be the backdrop for Hollywood. And since then, over the years, they've kind of just set up shop, halfway here, in the Santa Clarita area. And so, that was CG and whatever else, I don't know, but yeah, so.
So are you going to do a virtual reality component? Is there something like that? For the festival?
We had so many plans for the live event. We had speakers. We have some friends up here. Mel Blank is one of the most famous voiceover artists of all time. He does all the Looney Tunes voices or whatever, and he was the mayor of Big Bear for 25 years.
What?
Yeah. So he lived up here, and his son Noel has become one of our friends now, Noel Blank, who took over doing all the Looney Tunes voices for his dad, and he's been very encouraging. And there's a lot of film and television executives that live up here as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good spot, and kind of reminds me the northern on the other side of the mountain, on the northern side of the mountain of Hollywood. It kind of reminded me of Fort Worth when I was up there, and that Mel Blanc, man, it's like. Did you hear that story about how Bugs Bunny woke him up out of a coma or whatever? Yeah, the
doctors, and he said, "What's up, Doc?" Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Yes, there's an incredible documentary that called Mel Blanc, Man of a Thousand Voices, and and I couldn't get the rights to. It appeared in a obscure volume of Looney Tunes collections, and it was a 1-hour documentary about Mel Blanc. And so, Disney through their licensing companies have allowed us to use the rights to a couple of films. We were going to show Old Yeller up here. I mean, we were talking to Petco about sponsoring an event where we could show Old Yeller outside, and the community could bring their dogs.
Yeah.
So we were doing some really cool stuff like this, but now that doesn't translate online. And so, and same with the live music. We can't. It's challenging right now to figure out how we can incorporate the live music. And so, that's Mike, my partner, is really more in charge of the music. And so we've got a lot of. We've got work ahead of us.
Yeah,
so,
and even though they say that the theaters are dying off, I think it's actually going to come back in a different way, because just in my about every living room is different and every television is different, and some people can hear the content and some people can't really see it because of reflections in the room and light and stuff. And I was just talking to the kids about dynamic range, the THX, the huge sound. I'm like, that's where you're supposed to set the loudest volume. That's why they play that nonsense at the beginning, especially with the intros. You set your volume and then you're not supposed to touch it. But there's so much noise in an average house. And then with all these VR people coming in, and it's a solo environment, you're kind of alone unless you're with a group of people. And I know for a fact when I have my VR headset on, I'm like, who's watching me? So you want to have a private room that you can lock off and immerse yourself. But I think that's also in theater. I have a room just dedicated to a theater. So we're downstairs in the living room where it's noisy and lights and everything. And they're like, let's go watch this in the theater. This is really good content. It's not flashy. And I know some shows are filmed that way, real flashy, up close, tight, and then, really catchy, because they know that it's on a TV in a room with lots of distractions. But let me get a bearing on where you are here. I'm going to share a screen real quick.
Yeah, look for Big Bear Lake.
Okay, can you see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, there's the Village Theater.
Okay, Village Theater. So if you're with a Hollywood sign is like somewhere over here, isn't it? No, it's right here.
It's more around. I can't do my mouse, I don't think. Can you see my mouse?
No, I can't. But you can share. You can share.
Well,
your screen.
I mean, if you just look above Los Angeles, where it says, in that little spot near Beverly Hills. But yeah,
it's over in this area. But this is like how far away? Like maybe 45 minutes, an hour.
It's about a 2-hour drive.
Okay, and then it's up in the mountains. So is this the small town, the small ski resort? Big Bear.
Yeah, that's it. That's Big Bear. That's all Big Bear. Yeah, we're 6,500 feet up.
Wow.
It snowed the week before last.
No way.
Yeah. So we're shelter in place, but it's snowing outside, and it's just
crazy.
It's just beautiful up here. That lake was the backdrop for, Bonanza, the TV show filmed up here.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
So I went to the festival, and say for instance, do you feel like the festival's more, every festival has to shine with some really featured pieces that bring a lot of attention, but you're also helping an independent person out. Tell me about what this is
the old group that you're showing right now.
Okay. So this is old. So where do I need to go to find the new one?
You need to go to Big Bear Film Summit.
Okay. Big Bear Film Summit.
Yeah, the reason why we didn't want, what was important to us was, yes, a festival, and the festival atmosphere, the celebration of films, but and this is through their site.
Okay.
This is through the Visit Big Bear site. So there you go. You can click on that probably, or one of those, and probably get to it. But we wanted to make it a summit because we wanted to invite just as many industry executives and decision makers and content creators and stuff as well as filmmakers with completed projects.
Wow. So do you feel that you're going to do some type of online thing, or are you going to wait? What's your thoughts right now?
No, I have to move forward with online.
Okay. And how's that going to be conducted?
We're going to do a whole lot of online marketing, but through Eventive, their streaming platform. Mm-hmm. And this will all get filled up on the 10th. We announced the 10th on the 10th. So when so we'll have it'll be populated with a calendar and events, but but we're making it because nobody has any money. Nobody has any money right now.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's struggling, and so we can't afford to just do. Like I said, we've been working on this since December. We can't afford to just give it all away, but I'm trying to do my best. So the compromise we came up with was that, you know, I think we're going to offer a just a generic ticket to access everything if you can afford it for $25, right? Just go with me for a second. I know it's $25. Like if I had to do that for my friend's thing today, I wouldn't be able, you know what I mean? It's just like, I need to put that money somewhere else, whatever.
No, $25. I think we've spent, if you calculate it, on Amazon Prime and the movies you rent, just in a week, you know.
Exactly. But what we came up with is we thought that the idea that it's better to have 200 people that can afford $2 than 3 people that can afford 25. You know, and so basically what we're doing is we're opening up. There will be a separate film page and a purchase ticket option for all 50 films. So if your film's playing, or you know you have a buddy's film playing and you want to just spam it out there, the ticket prices are pay what you can. So just whatever you can. And here's the thing: instead of putting together our panels and our judges, and then Big Bear Film Summit saying, "Hey, you won the best documentary," or "You won the best international short," whatever. Now we have the ability for the users and the viewers to vote on the films. So we've now opened it up to the Big Bear Film Summit. Was June 12th through 14th in live venues, and now it's going to be June 12th through July 12th, 30 days online. Pay what you can for a ticket, and hopefully we will get all of that social media interaction and exposure, and we'll do a much greater job in 2021.
Yeah, for sure. And is there a way to look at the films that you guys are showing, like trailers and things?
There isn't, because that's kind of what was today's mission. Like it just, since our campaign just ended.
Okay.
Now I have 35 hours of content to stream and organize and put into a schedule, and then.
Okay, so you said a campaign ended. What was the campaign? What did you run it on?
That was our Film Freeway campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it just ended. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But you can go to Film Freeway and see.
Okay, let me share that. Okay, so Film Freeway is just ended in.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Wow. And this will help you figure out what kind of films you're going to show, so you can start putting some.
Yeah, I mean, if you could see it on my end, you can't. But if you saw the back end of it, you would be able to see, how many incredible films.
And maybe you could send those to me so I can put them in the next window when I broadcast this thing, because I think that'll be really cool to see all the filmmakers and join it up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. And the location that it's in, that's also cool too.
Yeah, very cool. This is just a magical little town. It reminds me. I keep telling my mom it's kind of like Granbury. You know Granbury?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like Granbury, Texas, only 6,500 feet up in the mountains.
No way. I'm going to place some. Who knows what I'm going to see here? Let's see. I'll just place it somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wow, it does look like it's up in the mountains. Well, it is up in the mountains, but it doesn't look like California so much as it looks like up north, like Oregon.
Yeah. No, it looks it's very European. There's a lot of German, Eastern European influence up here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish you could find the village. You're only one street away from the actual village. We have a whole village that's really cool. A lot of neat shops and art galleries. And
man, I should have prepared a little bit more. Where can I find that? Is it
like
is it on this side of the lake?
Saucy Mama's right there. That pizza shop, Saucy Mama's. That's in the village.
Okay. And where was the facility that you were going to do the film festival in? Where was
we're doing it at the Performing Arts Center, which is going to be up where you're at. I think it's like, let's see here. It's going to be like west of you. Or if you just type in Big Bear PAC, it'll.
Oh, Big Bear PAC.
Or Performing Arts Center. That'll pull it up. There it is. Yep.
Good old all-seeing eye Google.
Uh,
Okay, wow. Man,
yeah,
this
there
kind
we
of
go.
reminds me of Utah a little bit. It's wild.
Yeah, it does. People say that Mammoth, and so that's it. They have an incredible state of the art theater, 400 seat theater, and plenty of workshop spaces, and everybody's been until the lockdown. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they were all about it. Now, is there anybody? Have you seen anybody protesting or anything like that going on, like we do in Texas here?
Well, not up here. We only have a few cases, and they shipped them kind of down the mountain.
Oh, wow. Hey, they
But
actually got them out of the area.
we have a tiny hospital up here. We have a 10-bed hospital.
Okay, so it probably has
Okay, and
different rules.
there's 6,000 people in the community. So they have protocol in place, and San Bernardino is 30 minutes down the mountain, and they've got it's a mecca down there for healthcare and whatever else.
Yeah. Now, it's a for-profit, nonprofit, Big Bear?
Big Bear Film Summit we're applying right now for our nonprofit status.
I see. Now, I couldn't conjure up any nude scenes that you've done in movies to show everybody, but
Ladies of the house.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, what can I show that's really awesome? You got this trailer, and you've done so many movies, and what's can you speak about some of the stuff that's coming up, or that you're engaged in, or that?
Sure. I mean, about Picasso's Christ. That's kind of my lifelong journey, trying to get to the truth. About whether or not a Picasso sketch from 1906 is real or fake. And but documentary film. I love documentary filmmaking. It's probably one of my greatest passions because you have to discover the story as you go. But Picasso's Christ, it's like an onion. There's just so many layers to it that there's no way it's impossible to control. And so we've had waves of a lot of really substantial interviews and data and information that is leading us to a revelation on the authenticity of the Picasso sketch. But more and more layers of this onion keep opening up, and the end of the movie was finally revealed a couple of months ago. Yeah, there's Picasso's Christ. I think I kind of muted you.
Just like any documentary, it continues to progress in a, like, people discover it for the first time and stuff like that. So is there, because I haven't seen the ending yet. I want to see is this the full doc right here? No, that's something else. That's something. Where is your stuff?
But there's a cool preview right there. There's the preview. I don't know if you want to show that. You're welcome to show that if you want. If people can hear it, I don't know.
I'll put it on later, and people have a link and stuff like that. But this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah, that's the current documentary trailer right there.
Wow. And it was how many months or years in the making?
I started this in 2008.
Wow. And you feel like the piece is done, or do you think that it's still kicking and you have to record a little bit more?
The whole thing I was searching for is the utmost authority who could say, yes, this is real. And we've gone through, museums, galleries, curators, celebrities, artists. There's Shepard Fairey right there, and there's Picasso himself. And
wow.
Yeah, Shepard's great. He did the Obama Hope poster and all the Andre the Giant stuff. The Obey stuff is all his, and he's just a hell of an artist. There's Xander Berkeley, incredible actor and artist himself. And but to answer your question, I'll just boil it down to this. Forensically speaking, the art is authentic to that time. The signature is believed to be real. Even the paper materials dating back to 1906, it came back good. Like it's, by everybody's assumption and analysis, the Picasso sketch is authentic. But the trap I'm in is that there's only one person in this world that can stamp it official and then give it its value, which I'll ruin it for you, but you'll see the documentary eventually. It's been estimated to be worth about $1 million.
Wow, incredible. And you know, just like just like Egyptologists, you know, there's a collaboration of people that just won't butt on the system, and they're the voice of where everybody speaks. You know,
Well, this is even more controlled. And what I've really learned, I've been
really.
fascinated. There's the murderer that we had to get involved. There was a murder in our story, and one of the previous owners, yeah, Andrew Crispo. That's
And
a
and
that's a nightmare rabbit hole to go down. But
yeah,
his name is on the back of our artwork, so I had to go down there. Dave Hickey, an art critic, David France from How to Survive a Plague, and Ed Blackburn. I mean, all
and
these.
it seems like it's been haunting you. Has it haunted you? You were kind of in that zone, and you were just going at it.
Well, yeah, I was definitely getting a little mushy brain when so many people came forward to help me find Andrew Crispo, and that was just a bizarre set of circumstances on its own. But but Crispo was a very dangerous dude back in the day, and so it was terrifying, and I was getting trapped into this. I was going insane. I think I was just going insane with the fear and the obsession and the possibility and whatever else. And so I had to take a little break for a while. But in that break, we then discovered a forger. I'm ruining the end of part of the end of the movie. I'm going to tell you what I want to happen.
Okay,
and maybe this will help, because maybe I'll send him this video.
Okay.
He was just released from prison, like this week.
Whoa.
Or last week actually, and his name was all over our provenance documents, and the FBI worked for years to build a case against him for creating fake provenance documents for artwork, and he was found guilty and sentenced to prison in West Virginia for it, and his name is all over our provenance documents. So now I know that. We know that Claude Picasso is the only person on planet Earth that can say, Claude Picasso, Picasso's son, is the only person that can say, yes, this is real, and it goes in the catalog, and then it's an officially documented Picasso artwork. He's the only person. That's it. Otherwise, I just have this incredible documentary, a ridiculously fascinating story, and one of the most beautiful drawings I've ever seen in my entire life, done by Picasso. So, but this forger guy now could provide a secondary explanation, because if the artwork is real, and we believe that forensics believes that it was put in its frame in the condition I received it in 2008, they're convinced that it was framed in the 50s or 60s. So whoever has been selling this, trading this, moving this around, it was in a different condition prior to 1950s, let's say. And then from 1960 or 1950s, 60s on, when it was in this antique wooden frame, sealed in the back, which is the way I kept it for almost 10 years until Amon Carter Museum referred me to some forensic people who could actually, on camera, and you remember, you were there that day. You filmed the VR that day.
Yeah.
So was the first time in 10 years. I waited 10 years to have that cut out of its frame. And then, of course, you remember what happened. I'm not going to ruin it for the audience, but wasn't that an incredible day?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, this can't be a forgery. That was the biggest thing in my.
Well, and you were there. Liz Ann Gann said it that day. This is either a, what did she say? I forget her. I think it's in the trailer. She said something like it's either a priceless work of art, or it's one of the oldest forgeries, most incredible forgeries she's ever seen.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't.
It's too intricate. Like, to me, I was like, no one would go to the lengths or extremes to do what I saw being pulled out of this thing.
I did. It's always been my dream, because I collect. I'm an artist. I collect art. And so
no, do you have it with you right now? Is it in the room? Is it?
No, I don't have it. I don't have it with me. It's being held very secure.
Yeah, in Amon Carter. Yeah, when I go down there, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll have to, whatever collection you want to see, we'll have to take it out of the deep freeze." I was like, "What? There's a deep freeze down there? They have to let it thaw a little bit?" I'm like, "No, I don't even want to touch that thing."
No, Amon Carter's amazing, but yeah, it's on my list. I'm supposed to send a letter to this forger guy, and we tried for the last year to get access to him, because I was allowed access to interview the murderer in the story. His name is Bernard Lagueros, who was Andrew Crispo's assistant / executioner. And I was allowed into Attica to interview him, and that was crazy.
Were you able to get cameras in there, or did they allow?
Oh yeah,
that
that's a big part of the documentary. Wow. Is this guy in our prison interview? But that whole experience was, oh man, I mean, and there's nobody to blame. I created all this. It's not,
yeah.
But that was a very interesting day. Very
Dateline. You see that on Dateline NBC, them interviewing president. So was it one of those where you're face to face with this inmate?
I was face to face, and the guards that were escorting me were just on the other side of the door, basically within arm's reach. They couldn't be on camera, and they couldn't be in the room with me because they basically put us into a cell, essentially.
Wow.
Put us into a cell-size office is what it was. And so, yeah, there wasn't anything separating us. But I corresponded a few times back and forth in writing to Bernard Lagueros at Attica, and kind of let him know what we were going to be talking about or whatever. And one thing he really danced around was talking about the murder. And so I just thought, well, I'm going to approach this interview like any other interview. What do you know about this artwork? He confirmed that, yeah, this is the gallery's label. This is Andrew Crispo's, blah, blah, blah. And then within, I think, I had 1 hour access with him. Cameras were recording, and about 4 minutes in, he just started talking about the murder. And then it just, that's all he talked about was how horrible it was with Andrew Crispo, and what trauma he went through that led to it. And man, if I could release that 60-minute interview as a whole separate sub, which is something that we've talked about, but it's so intriguing. I mean, it is from the mouth of a murderer. And the guy, he was 22 years old and got sentenced to 22 years old and murdered somebody and got sentenced to life. But he got out. I think in at the beginning of 2019.
Wow, that's incredible.
So he's been out for a year and in New York.
How can you get back your life back on ground?
Yeah, he was 33 years in, and yeah, he had a lot of damning things to say about Crispo, and I left that in. I don't know if you want to put this in the published podcast or whatever, but he was fuming to the point where I don't know. There was a tiny window where we felt, this whole documentary has changed, and we could actually shift this thing into, a real investigative crime documentary. We have enough testimony and evidence that we could actually put Andrew Crispo back on trial for this murder all these years later. And so, and then it wasn't like, I don't know, less than a week later, I was FaceTiming with Andrew Crispo himself. And,
and knowing all that and not, oh man, that's scary.
Well, he wanted to when I was in New York. He knew I was in New York, and we had it set up where we were going to meet, but I was communicating to Crispo through an individual. I'm trying to say this politely, but a less than professional individual. I'll just put it that way.
Wow.
And so he was communicating back and forth. And then when I got to New York, I had a few things set up, including the prison interview, and they wouldn't communicate. And it wasn't until I had gotten upstate and was about to interview Lagueros in Attica prison that I got a message that Andrew Crispo would like to have somebody pick me up from my hotel in New York. And I wasn't in New York anymore. I mean, I wasn't in New York City anymore. And that he wanted to do the interview driving around in a car, which, as much as I've read about Andrew Crispo, that's how he would lure his victims. And so, one of my producers was with me in New York, and for hours, all I kept saying was, this is like, I was going crazy that night once I got that message, because I was like, I have to get back to Manhattan. I'm getting in the car with Andrew Crispo. This footage is going to be incredible. Like, this is going to be a hell of a scene, you know? And the guy hasn't been interviewed since the 80s. It's like he's a ghost living off the grid, and he's in very, very poor health. So I don't know what's going on. And I haven't heard anything. There was a lot of shit talking after I left New York online, where I could tell some of these people around him had found posts on social media and started attacking me. And
whoa.
You just have to go to the Fort Worth Weekly article and look at the giant thread of responses. You know, because years ago, Fort Worth Weekly did a little post about Picasso's Christ, and then I don't know, 2 years or something went by, and all of a sudden I get back from New York and I'm getting all this, like, you know, crap talk from Crispo's camp defending him and such on a Fort Worth Weekly thread. You know what I mean? And so. And it doesn't make it, it's all like just the silliest stuff, but that's a fun little thread to dig through. I eventually had to just kind of shut it down, but yeah, so if I can get to this forger guy, then at least then he may have some revelation to share. And I'm hoping, because his reputation has been absolutely decimated by his crimes, our appeal to him would be this. And again, it all goes back into like the Christ sketch, you know, and the entire documentary, I played both sides, where we have Christ on the front, but yet you turn it over on the back and you do research and it's a murderer, and it's like, it's the good and the bad, you know what I mean? And so,
yes. And
I honestly think that the best thing for the documentary to take it full circle would be essentially to take it back to what could be the very person that I got the Picasso from in 2008. Very likely could be this forger guy that just got out of prison. Now, the artwork we don't believe to be forged, but the paperwork that now is absolutely necessary to sell, to auction, to, you know, whatever with your artwork, it's all fake.
Tainted. Wow.
It's all tainted. And so, but this gentleman was at the top of his field when he was respected and, you know, handling the art world, I guess. I don't know how deep his crimes go, honestly, but he wasn't known for forging or selling fakes, forging artwork or selling fake artwork. He was just known for creating bogus paperwork. And so hopefully he would at least be able to tell us where it came from.
And he probably, he bogus the paperwork to make it look better, essentially.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, that's all there is to it. And so, yeah. So it was very clever, because he would have paperwork that would just loop into itself with dead collectors and such, where you could never actually ever get to, you know, so it's like, oh, all these people are dead, but
yeah, no one's going to research this. Yeah.
The reality is, if this Picasso sketch was actually done in 1906, I don't have any paperwork on it until the 70s. So there's a tremendous gap. You know, most of the life of the artwork, we don't know where it was.
Right. And at the time when he got it, he needed to probably bump it up, because it's kind of a useless.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one thing that helped, going back to the forensic thing that day, we know in the art world that, I'm trying to word this so it doesn't give away, you know, what we know, but if anybody that not framed it, they would have had to know when it was framed, you know what I mean? But anybody since it had been framed in the 50s or 60s knew what we know now after pulling it out of its frame, then it would have been listed a whole lot differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people took this from the 50s or 60s and passed it on, sold it, gave it, did whatever they did to wherever the Picasso Christ sketch went throughout the years. It ended up at the Andrew Crispo Gallery in the late 70s.
Wow. So how can I watch it now, or where could I watch it?
Well, there really isn't a way to watch it now. I mean,
okay. It's still
like between us, if you want to see like our current cut, I'll send you our current cut.
okay.
You're a filmmaker, and you also could contribute to
Oh
ideas.
yeah, I critique it for sure.
You could contribute to ideas that I'll get you a way to screen it, but it's absolutely not for the public until we have our ending.
Okay, and how far away do you think that might be? It's all depending on.
Well, that's what I was saying a second ago, is that I'm writing a letter to petition the forger guy to try and convince him that if he helps on camera, he comes in and he's the new character, he's the third act of this documentary, and he helps us get to the truth. This could actually be some salvation for him personally in the art world. You know what I mean? He could kind of turn that coat and start helping, art forensics and whatever else.
Right.
And maybe Picasso's Christ could be his guinea pig.
Kind of like a catch me if you can type of thing,
Exactly.
Convert them. Right.
Exactly. Just like that, But since then, we've dealt with the FBI. We've dealt with, there's just too many layers, and it shouldn't be this difficult. But then again, when I acquired the Picasso, that was the mission. It's like, all right, I know this has value. I believe it's real to my core, but how do I get it? And I'd never done this. I couldn't find anything online other than the Who the Blank is Jackson Pollock documentary, which is incredible. That was one of the first ones where they took a piece of artwork and worked it through the chain to prove it real or not. And so, that's kind of was an inspiration when I got the Picasso. It was like, all right, well, I'm going to make a documentary, and I'm going to show the audience what it takes to, if you find artwork at a garage sale, or you inherit something, or how do you actually put value on it? How do you get it recognized by the art community?
And I'm sure you've thought about doing the whole series thing or to be continued. And I'm sure you've been dogged on that, but it's like now when I watch documentaries, and usually they're like 45 to an hour. And like a good example, I guess I found out why I don't watch them as much as I used to is especially the ones made for television. We were, my girlfriend's all about doing Atlantis, and we were watching all these documentaries. I'm like, look, let's just watch the last 10 minutes, because whatever they say, the tagline is that we're going to discover this, or we're going to find this one place. They'll sum it up at the very last minute. Of course, every 10 minutes is like they'll go through the entire documentary, and then they'll close up the loop that they started hours ago. So I started speed watching. Is that what happens?
In television, it's very formatted like that. And you're right, with miniseries and stuff now, especially American crime or crime miniseries now are more popular than ever. I've been saying since day one that Picasso's Christ, it's too much to put into 80 or 90 minutes. It really should be 3 or 4 45-minute episodes. And considering I have 1 hour of footage with the murder in Attica, and I've did a 60-minute interview with one of the greatest artists of our time, Shepard Fairey, and Dave Hickey, the art critic from the 60s. And it's just like, there's a lot of stuff that all the interviews, we don't, you know how it is. You don't go in and shoot 5 minutes, you're spending hours with them. Yes. So I have all this content that could, I think it's valuable to the art world, and it's valuable to the viewer. So I don't know, but until I can get the answer, the film or the miniseries, the story will never be done until I get the answer. I need to know if Picasso's Christ is real or fake.
Yeah.
I just had to go through hell to get it, and meet murderers and forgers and con man and the FBI and federal marshals, and it's just another film.
It's credible. And now with the Big Bear going on. Oh, speaking of which, you said that there's space up there for artists. That's what you were going to do eventually. There's a place for production, beds and heads, you said.
Well, I was saying that, that's the only thing that feeds this town. We have 2 resort mountains up here, and this is a tourist town. So we're choked now. They had to close the mountains early. I'll give you an example. There's 6,000 people that live in this community. And from November to, I guess, April or May every year, there's over 1 million tourists that visit the town. to snowboard, to ski, to stay in the lodges, to enjoy the mountains, to whatever else. So we're a town of 6,000 people that gets over 1 million tourists a year. And so that's what feeds these programs, like the grant that we got from Visit Big Bear. There's this fractional tax on your hospitality stays, your hotels and motels and whatever else. There's a fractional tax that goes into the tourism fund that they can give out to events and stuff. And that's what we tapped into. So we expected to have 1,000 to 2,000 live visitors up here for the film festival that were renting discount Airbnbs and hotels and motels. And now it's like, how are we promoting a town that thrives on physical interaction digitally? That was our challenge. How can you do that with a streaming event? On the other hand, we are a media event, so it serves its purpose streaming, whereas some other really popular annual events like the Chili Cook-Off, and there's mountain biking competitions that lure in tens of thousands of people and stuff. Well, some of this is a little harder to do. You can't have a chili cook-off. You can't stream a chili cook-off. You know what I mean? People have to be there to taste the chili and get on their mountain bikes and stuff. And so now what the town is left with is very few events left for the year. Big Bear Film Summit being one that serves a legit streaming purpose and possibility. And so we're gonna load the festival up with commercials and advertisements and marketing material to Visit Big Bear when this lets up, because that's our mission, is to get people to Big Bear.
And on the online part of it, like there's no like watch parties and all that other stuff. It's just you can't do too much of that right now. It seems like it's not effective, or it's just for a certain click of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had some industry. I mean, I had we had a lot of guests, and we may be able to get actors, like my buddy Xander Berkeley and a handful of others that can send in videos, 30-second, hey, so we're kind of limited to that. We had workshops planned with Academy Award winning special effects artist Barney Berman was going to do a workshop up here and let us show his horror movie. And so we had Academy Award winners, and like I said, Noah Blank was going to come up and kind of really help out. And and there's a lot of I was able to get quite a few film and TV executives to participate. And now it's, we're competing against whatever everybody else wants to watch. It's everybody's glued to their device trying to find some content. And so,
yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting time period. And of course, everybody's like, this is changing everything. I was like, I don't know, it'll probably get it back up and running. I mean, we've done SARS and bird flu, and this is the most intense one with the government shutdown, but I see this probably popping back up again, and people are going to get out again, or people are going to do like they do in Texas and just say, I don't care, I'm going to get out there and no matter what.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how we recover and what shape we have to function in going forward.
Yeah. Now tell me, before we go, I know that I was looking over your IMDb and stuff, and I was just like, can you tell me a few things that could come out of your mind that was like a weird project, or very diverse, or something that stands out that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, I'll tell you what, we're actually going to be showing this at the Film Summit, but my the last, I mean, you've known me for a while. I really only am attracted to acting if the characters are honest, believable, and somewhat outrageous, to some extent. So I'm always attracted to just the craziest characters, and then I'll provide the humanity and the reality to it. And so, and a great friend of mine named Noah Warner, who's an incredible musician, artist, filmmaker. The guy's a savant across the board. And he just has one of the most unique, wild minds. And he wrote this crazy, abstract mystery comedy ensemble film called The Trapdoor at the Edge of the Universe, in which it's a story within a story within a story that just unravels, and the characters start infiltrating these other dimensions and stuff. And he cast me as this kind of a thug character who I had to play multiple characters, but ultimately I was one of King. I was one of I was Merlin the Wizard, essentially.
Okay.
And but brought back into right now, and having to, and it was absolutely outrageous, and it was so much fun. But that's called The Trapdoor at the Edge of the Universe, and it has Laura Slade Wiggins in it. Such a doll. She was in she's one of the cast members of Shameless for a handful of seasons.
Oh wow.
And it was just a lot of fun. It was just a really great cast, and we just, it was one of those indie films where everybody just came together, and we just made it happen over a couple weeks. And Noah worked his butt off and did almost everything on the movie, and it turned out fantastic. And so it was going to have its world premiere, but now I guess it's still having its world premiere just online at the Big Bear Film Summit. But
is there a place to find it, like a trailers and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can find it on, I know you can go to Trapdoor at the Edge of the Universe on Facebook.
Okay.
And see if you can find that trailer, because it's outrageous too.
Wow.
Now there it is on IMDb, Indiegogo. Yep, I think Facebook. There it is.
Facebook's probably the best one to check it out.
Yeah. Oh, there's a trailer right there.
Okay, a Vimeo style. That's the other thing. People are doing the Vimeo. YouTube television is now like a part of the Apple TV thing going on. Have you learned anything about that, or?
No, but everybody's adapting to figure something out.
And I was like, because when people think about sitting down watching TV, they go straight to whatever the app is on their Apple TV or on PlayStation or something of that nature. Okay, so I think I remember watching the trailer to this. Yeah, because it was like way out there, and I couldn't figure out what time it was.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was just one of the most unique stories I'd ever been, or scripts I'd ever really read.
Interesting.
And Noah pulled it off brilliantly. Yeah, there's me. I'm teaching my cats how to read and write right now, to try and figure out to try and communicate where they're getting through this wormhole, which is actually in a washing machine in a laundromat in the valley, and it's pretty cool. And there's Sean. He's from Houston. Sean, he has a whole touring show where he does MLK, and really? Aaron Perillo. He's a hell of an actor, and in a band called Civic and the Sun.
Wow. There's the portal in the
yeah. And of course, there's like mob involvement and a lot of goofy stuff, but it's just it starts getting wild. And there's me discovering this lost book, this magical book, and there's our map.
See, that's what really got me when I watched the trailer. I remember like, what? What's all this?
See, because the whole world starts devolving like throughout the movie, where the actual picture quality starts, like crumbling in and stuff. And
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. I got to check that out for sure.
It's one of the most unique projects I've ever been a part of. And that's,
How long did it take to shoot that? And how long was it? Like 15 minutes short, or?
Oh no, it's a feature.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a feature. It took, I think the whole, I was only there maybe like 11 days or something, but I think there was maybe a 20-day schedule or something, give or take.
Wow. And what's the life of this? Do you think that the life of it's going to be is it going to eventually go to Amazon Prime or?
Yeah, I think so. Noah's already working on a follow-up film they're shooting in the Carolinas this summer if everything lightens up. But yeah, this was kind of his calling card as a his transition into more filmmaking. But yeah, I'm gonna, he's hunting distributors. I'm kind of helping out, trying to see if I can lead him anyway. And but I think Noah's good with it being available everywhere. You know, so probably, you know, VOD is just as good as, you know, giving a good chunk to a distributor.
Yeah. Do you have a downside for doing the whole?
You know?
Do you have a downside for doing the what's it called? Amazon has a thing called Create a Space. I actually did that a while back on one of my films and was able to get it on. And they weren't accepting HD. I don't know if they're still doing that, but at least you could buy an HD or DVD version. I didn't have to worry about packaging, wrapping it, or sending it. They did all that stuff. But
yeah, I think they canceled all the Create Space stuff. You know, I just helped Tom get Taking Tiger Mountain launched on Amazon, and man, I've got it figured out because I've helped so many people get their films on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But man, and it's like I used to gripe because aggregators would charge. I mean, you can look now. Any aggregator is going to charge $1,300 plus per title. Well, a lot of filmmakers just don't have that, and I totally understand. And so I was like, you know what? I don't have that, so I'm going to figure it out how to do it myself. And I did, and then I realized that it takes, you know, 2.5 months of, I mean, not that long to actually launch the data you need, but you have to babysit and work with Amazon for 2.5 months before they approve it and you're live. Once you go live, then you're getting 16 cents for every 60 minutes that's being streamed. But they open up a new their new platform is pretty transparent, and I like that, because before, like, I have a documentary, The 56 Fire. It was my first documentary produced about the Shamrock refinery explosion in 1956 that killed 19 volunteer firemen and stuff. That was my first documentary. And I was able to get that on their older platform, and there's very little transparency. It's like I just let it go, and then, you know, they send me, you know, these fractional residual checks on occasion, and it's like it just didn't connect the dots the way it seemed to. And their new platform is much better, but it still takes that much time to get a title up there. And so I'm actually starting when the festival ends. I'm going through the daunting process of publishing all 20 episodes of Ghost Breakers finally to Amazon Prime, because before, anybody that, you know, even distributors that wanted to do it, you know, they wanted to either back charge us $1,500 an episode or just out of pocket it. We have 20 episodes. It's like, yeah, I don't have $25,000 to, you know what I mean, to just blow out there. And now that I know how to do it, and have done it successfully a handful of times over the last couple of years, that I'm taking it on myself to finally get Ghost Breakers out there on VOD. The cool thing about Amazon, though, is that once you're in their library, you know, and there's thousands and thousands of movies that are, well, they have a billion subscribers, you know, and so, like with Tom's movie, like Taking Tiger Mountain, anybody that Googles Bill Paxton, it's going to come up in that list.
Wow.
You know, so that's the benefit of having name cast. You know, you Google anything I'm in, who knows? You know what I mean? It's like,
yes.
You know, I'm mixed in with thousands of other whatever, but you know what I mean? So it can be beneficial. Or like with Noah's movie, you know, he's got Laura from Shameless in it and a couple other actors. And so that's what can help move the Amazon metrics so that you're getting more and more of those views. You know, so I'm down to help filmmakers, but I have to admit, though, that it's just not easy.
It's best to have like 2,500 in your pocket and do the, you know, the iTunes or the Amazon placement thing.
iTunes is even more difficult.
Really?
That's what I found. And Google, yeah, I've been dabbling with getting content into Google for Google Play and stuff, and they've got a really good system.
Yeah.
But it's just so damn time consuming. I mean, it's just so time consuming that I can't figure out how. I mean, I would help a friend, like I'll help Noah do it. If you've got a project, I can help you get through to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm willing to help people, but man, it is, you know, it is just so time consuming that I haven't figured out, unless I just, like these aggregators do, just charge a fee so that I'm covered $500 or $600 for my activity the next couple months. I don't know how else it's worth anybody's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want a title and you want that exposure, then it's worth doing, which is why I've done it for, you know, however many films. But But if I was if it wasn't personally benefiting me, then it's just so. I haven't figured out how to make that work so I can help more people get their films out there. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, and it's that everybody's got a little bit of the id and the ego in it, and it seems like when you're trying to get a film up and running, or that collaboration and understanding everybody's part of the project, and it's kind of all through it, marketing and creating the production. It seems like that's the key element, is creating that space.
Man, God, I wish we kind of weren't on camera right now, because I got to tell you about my next documentary.
Oh, really?
I wish I could. You want me to just tell you, but you can cut it out if you want?
Okay.
I mean, definitely cut it out, because it's not, I have no permission right now, but I'll tell you what I'm investigating, and you'll get this.
Okay.
So this is off the record.
Off the record,
whatever to work with. And, I got up every day and just dealt with movies. It's cool. It's cool.
Well, man, thanks so much for sharing that with you. The kids are finally back, and they're going to make a whole bunch of noise, so I better get back to it. How's your kids doing anyway? Good.
Bram's good. He's down with his mama in Northridge and kind of hunkering out, but everybody's, they're on school online, right? Yeah. So everybody's doing schooling online, and I just got his report card. He's got all A's, and he's 7, so he's just, he's having fun, and he plays Roblox and stuff. And,
dude, now that's something. So my son's on the other side of town. I'm doing Roblox in the evenings. So I'll sit there, and I'll record it. He hates me recording it. He doesn't want to be on camera, but no, this is good stuff, because he builds all this stuff.
It's incredible. I know. I barely have the patience for it, because I just get lost in it.
Mm-hmm. I think what it's going to be is, you remember Second Life came out, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what they're doing is think they're growing, because the games are getting more advanced. People are able to trick the code a little bit more and get more like really good looking games in there, and the Robux thing. And
yeah, cool.
So,
hey, I was going to tell you, if you go to ghostbreakerstv.com.
Yeah.
If you want to use this when we were referencing it in the video, I think we just got our site updated this week. It might be just more content for you to show on screen and scroll through.
Yeah.
For what I'm referencing. If you want to, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, what was it? Because I remember I was wondering where that project went, and then I also wanted to know, like, Ghostbreakers was basically kind of making fun of it, right? Oh man, it brought up a 1940 version.
Ghostbreakers TV, or I'm sure I know it's on Facebook too, but I don't know how updated the Facebook is. But
yeah, are you heading that up all together, or got it? Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's pretty much just me.
Man.
Joey. All the cast, everybody, like Brian Massey, Brian and everything. Everybody's still involved. It's just that it's just been kind of on the back burner for so long that this Amazon relaunch will be good, and it'll be good for everybody. But it's Reno 911 with ghost hunting. It ended up being like a live action Scooby-Doo is what happened. We never really set out to make a kids show, but by the time we were finished and created all the episodes, it came back with a TVG rating, and I'm like, well, wow. I guess none of us cussed. There was no sexual, it was just like it's like, wow, we have a total clean family show. Great, let's run with it.
Yeah.
So it does play every Friday and Saturday night on the Family Channel.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So,
wow.
Yeah. So we'll see how all that goes, but.
Well, man. Well, I'm glad to hear everything's doing okay now. You're bunkered down, and I bet the weather's really great up there too, man.
So nice. It's like 50 degrees right now. It's just amazing.
Well,
it's
incredible.
Like it's going to be 90 tomorrow down in LA.
No way.
Yeah, and it's up when it's 90 down there. It's 65 or 70 up here. It's just amazing.
Wow. Well, man, it was good talking to you, and we'll have to do this again sometime. I'll have to go do some editing, man, because you got some good stuff in here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let me know what you need, dude, and I'll do it anytime, dude. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you then.